All right, ladies and gentlemen, I got your watch list for May 30th. I hope you're ready. It was exciting today. It's going to be exciting tomorrow, but, well, we have our predictions for tomorrow and what we're going to look at. We're going to go over the trades for today. I want to show you the main points. I'm not going to clickbait you. I'm going to give it to you right away. The main thing we're at here, it's an inflection point in terms of both the volume, and then the next big thing that got set off today was the yield curve and the levels that we hit on the long-term rates and as well as the 10-year. So if you guys have been following along, you've seen how that's important. And again, even along with the predictions tomorrow, we didn't have much news today. There was Robert Mueller resigned and the market kind of reacted, but I believe that the market was going to react anyways. That's what we kind of saw this bounce on. However, there was that. And then China later in the day, it was kind of an update of news that came earlier in terms of China giving or adding 25% tariffs. And then after market, we saw the U.S. put duties on mattresses and then some other tariffs on even Mexico and some other stuff too, some light stuff. But I think it was more broader scope as opposed to escalating with China. However, we're watching for that. And even one of my expectations tomorrow, watch for that news to develop and watch for the market to kind of go up and down off that. But we're going to talk about that. So I'm going to start with the plays that we made today, but looking where the S&P is at right now, this is very important. Again, both at the support levels and in terms of the volume. But this is what I really wanted to highlight. Anytime we've pretty much reached these levels of volume, we start to get volatility. Again, even if you guys want to pull it back, well, one, you could go back here. It is a lot lower, and this is what I'm saying. At some other points, comparing it to October and whatnot, it's very, very low. But this is what I'm saying is that this is kind of a first hint at it, but you could kind of see it building up. So it's kind of establishing those initial levels that we've seen where volume really does pick up. So we noticed big volume today. If that continues to persist, that could develop into something big. So that being said, tomorrow doesn't have to be a big down day. It's showing some supports acting like support, and that's what I said we need to look for today. When support does not act like support, that is when you could expect these bigger days. But at the end of the day, we closed only down 220 points. We dropped 350 or 370 at one point. So they're still keeping it into control. But I guess to get into it before we talk about the plays, let's see the keys for tomorrow. If there is no early sell-off, if there's no gap down or any sort of large, again, this morning we were down 300 points within the first hour or two. If we're not seeing anything like that, and then we're also seeing no big sell-off and then bounce and volatility, again, anything even looking at today is considered volatility. If you look at the size of the candles, the movements in the range, today was fairly large. So if we see something like this where it does see a big move down, wait, I want to see if there is that would be pretty much the only level of us getting down. And why do I say that? That would pretty much mean the stock market is going to have a bigger down day tomorrow. And why do I say that? It's going in line with what I said earlier, where support acts like support, because if we do see a big sell-off and start to go 300-400 points, you will see the SPY sell-off pretty large, and that will take us down to a pretty big level. And again, with the volume already high and the money in markets already moving, that could escalate fairly quickly. That's going to be important. And then if we don't get that, look for a cuck fest. So if we don't see any, and that again could look like a lot like today, but if we don't see a big sell-off and breaking below, look for the market to really do nothing and push the move to even Friday or even beyond that, because that falls in line even with the same logic here of the volume. Because give it a few days, if the volume stays up, we could see it kind of have one of these gaps and then pick up, but then it could still walk down. And depending on what levels it hits, the other news that happens, we'll see what happens from there and what goes. But there's that. And then if there is anything, I am expecting bad news to come out tomorrow, but little reaction. So I guess there's more. I would say I'm more biased towards the cuck fest. That being said, when we're putting all this in a perspective. So those are your keys for tomorrow, but I almost forgot the most important thing, you guys. You need to drop a like on the video. Wait, but that's not the most important thing. The most important thing is you need to post your watch list below. Do not forget that. And we're live 30 minutes before open, youtube.com/thestockmarket. So as far as the plays go, I want to talk about the plays that I actually made today. So first, we did play solely. If you guys have been watching this from yesterday, we talked about that. Again, I made that other video, but we got in at like 1090 and I sold out today. I got a pretty impressive sell out of there. We sold around 17 minutes into the market. I thought I would hold it a little bit longer, but I sold half of the 50 shares I bought. So you can see I bought them at 10.90 yesterday. I sold half of them 25 for 27.52. So I get to hold 25 free shares. They're worth a couple $100 still. I spent $5.45 for 50 shares. I sold out 25. I got back $6.88, and I'm holding 25 shares in the portfolio. That's that strategy we've talked about with IPOs, but this kind of acted like an IPO. So we got some free shares. Shout out all the people who got that. And shout out all the people who hit up the stream alerts. We had a lot of new people on there, so you guys, you probably got some before market close today. You'll get some in the morning. Let me know your feedback, and also if you have any questions too, man, hit me up in the comments. Man, if you guys post some comments and video ideas, feel free. Let me even know what you guys are working with. But as always, make sure you're paper trading and being smart. But we sold out of that in the morning. It was about 17 minutes in. We're swinging it. I'm not really as concerned. I got my money back. I think we should watch it here and there if it does make other moves, but be careful for some imitators. There was like a ELSK or something like that today. But again, this was a very unique situation. It was a legit company. It was biotech. It's a good product, a low flow. It had many, many good things working for it, and it explains this big move. So we'll see what happens with it. But I'm just holding now. I plan to hold those shares for a long time. I'm probably not going to cut it. Again, I had initial risk the first day, and that's why I was like, oh, I might hold it, I might not. But now at this point, it's already gone up. I've got my money back and controlled the risk. I'm going to be holding this for a long time. The other play I'm going to be watching based off a play I made, again, AMD. I bought a weekly. It was a daily. I bought it for $25, the 30-50 call, and I spent a lot. Those contracts pretty much got obliterated already. But off of the morning, you guys, this is what I said I was looking for. It started ripping and the market was coming down. I took that as AMD was probably going to have the continuation. It didn't happen. Thankfully, 3%, I guess, it's big, but not really considering the move that happened. So I'm keeping my hand in the middle there. But I will see the average down again, even push out the time. But I'm going to watch out for that and watch for the same exact thing. If AMD starts to show any divergence off of that big news event and the chip they released, and we start to see it operate differently than the market and kind of diverge, that could be an opportunity to make a play. Lastly, the final play we made, again, I sold out of TLT. I sold out of some of the weeklies, and I'm still holding it. This isn't the last one, but I'm still holding some of those Junes. So be careful, you guys. Put these in a paper trade account. Use these learning opportunity. But I got the 212. They were like 19 cents. I think we got them at like 17 cents. They went up a little bit, but Tesla had news that they're doing Model 3 pre-orders in China. NIO went down on it, which was kind of a positive sign. It moved up a little bit. This was good velocity and volume initially. The volume was crazy, but then it kind of leveled out. But it moved with the SPY, kind of did its own thing. But they've been beat down a lot. I like the risk reward on the call side, but again, any of these plays push it to the wall. So now watch those, and now I'll give you guys another list of push it to the wall candidates, but also stocks to watch tomorrow. Again, these are some from the same list, but UNH, it did the volatility that we were expecting. We talked about this yesterday, said off of one of those big down days, it could have big moves. So dollar for dollar, it's moving $4 or $5, so it has $2.50 increment option change, so you could watch that. But as these get cheaper, you push those to the wall. That could be a really good one. Disney, the put premium went up. It kind of got a little dissipated there at close. However, it's finally starting to give way a little bit. So that's good on this side. Again, we saw that a few weeks ago. But if it does start to give way, again, think Qualcomm. That's what I'm expecting. But Disney has shown to be a little more resilient. But even on that note, watch Qualcomm. It's been holding up. A lot of people have been confused by its behavior. I'm still in that weekly put that we got from last week, so we'll see what happens with it. But watch Qualcomm because, again, that's going to tell you something. Even along those same lines with Apple, you could see this compared to the chip makers, but if Qualcomm starts to move independently, that could give you an idea of what's going to happen. And again, too, tomorrow is Thursday, you guys, so be very, very smart with the plays you're making because you have to think about what we have coming into, push it to the wall, literally. So watch that. Watch Facebook. Again, we said yesterday it made a big pop-up up. Now it's sold down. It was having weird moves all day today. There could be something, either news or even the earnings, I would say even buybacks or something, but Facebook is trading really, really weird. I've seen this company for a while. I don't like how it's behaving with these little pops and drops. I think something's brewing again. Even Google's been having some bad news and has been getting hits and been moving. And, there's been an interaction between Facebook and Amazon. Oh, and I forgot, this was one of the last plays I made today, the Amazon. So if you guys remember, we sold that Amazon yesterday for $1,000. The call, I closed up 160 on it today. At one point, we were up like 220 or 250, just under that 30% I was shooting for, but it kind of came back down. But watch how this play develops. I like how it's setting up. And then I set it up and I sold a next week put. So you guys know I say don't sell longer-term premium. We talked about this on stream. This is more of a ghetto spread in the same respect. I made this play. It was a shorter duration. It's up, and now I'm using this one to kind of secure the gains and limit the risk and making the other side of the play after I'm already up on this. So you guys will see that. But again, I sold today. Amazon, this was more towards the close as I was, and I figured, I said, hey, I want to protect myself if we do get a gap up or cuck tomorrow. I sold the next week put. Those put premiums went up a little bit. I sold a 1675 put for 255. So again, I shorted that option, meaning I think that put is going to go down. So if I lose money or if I lose some of my gains here, I'll make some of the gains here. So we'll see what happens. That's going to be a fun and interesting play. I got to watch out for the buying power, though. But, man, I even missed it, man. This was the next big thing. This is the title of the video. The thing was yield curve today. How the yield curve moved, you guys, and this is the main point I'm going to – so if you made it this far, congratulations. You're getting the reward here. But the biggest point that we need to talk about is how the yield curve inverted, and this is going to be the key for tomorrow. And just like we said with the volume and how the volume persists, the next biggest thing is essentially going to be how the yield curve or how the yields persist. Do they stay low or not, and does the curve stay inverted? But this is one thing I wanted to point out, not only where we're at with the volume, but noticing now when the short end really starts to skyrocket and make this kind of little hook there, that when you see this, we haven't seen that on the yield curve over time. And here's the S&P 500, and then here's the curve as we're going over time. But pretty much any time before the crash is really, you could see it starts to get like that. There you see that little U-turn there, and now the short-term rates really get high until they cut it again. And you could watch the video on the main channel. I have it. You could search the Trading Fraternity, how to predict the stock market crash. But anytime you see that, if that persists and gets longer and longer, again, you could even come to 2007, the market was still going up when this was happening. So you see it right here. It starts to kind of happen. But as that persists and the curve stays like that, the market goes up and up until they finally cut. And then that is what preceded the crash. They kind of delayed it a little bit. So we might get a mix between 01 and 07, but again, that's only if the yield curve stays like this. But the big key to watch is the 30-year, and that's the big thing. What happened really big in the market today, this was the first time, even in 2019, the lowest time we've ever gone this point, I think it was 2017, but the 30-year closed here below 2.75. We're at 2.7. It touched 2.65 at one point. This is a big move in the bond market saying something, but even then, the market got relief as the bond market, we hit lows today, and then it bounced. And this is what I've been saying. If we hit more lows with this, watch for new levels to be hit with the rates, and before you know it, it'll just slowly boil up. That's even how you make the plays on TLT. TLT is a great visual example of that. When you take a look at it, it always hits a level, it comes down, and then comes back up. It'll reach a new base, and then you see where it goes from there. And that's exactly what happened in that last cycle. So if rates are going to continue to come downwards, you need to watch out for that. But the last time the rates were at this point, and you have to watch out because 2.7 on the 30-year, I think in January, February, here's the 10-year. The 10-year was at 2.75 in January and February as we were coming through that bounce there on the SPY from the rates dropping and the yield curve and the trade war pressures all around here. So this is going to be very important to watch, and that setting those new levels, pretty much we're getting new lower rates, and that is further inverting the curve. And the more and more this inverts for a longer amount of time, that is just setting it up till the point of either equities fall first or policy changes first, and that could cause an issue. Again, though, it could stay like that for a long time and markets could rally. So what I'm trying to say with volume and all this, the market is brewing up. So get ready for us. It's setting up a great opportunity. That's why I am taking advantage of both selling time and playing these options. So those are that and those plays to watch. I think wrapping it up, I have only those. Watch Amazon. Again, I made that play. AMD. Oh, Boeing. This is going to be a great one to watch, you guys. It has been following the market and kind of coming down, but the thing is, the put premium skyrocketed today. They came down a little bit, and if we were on stream, we told you guys when to take profits. I even sent out the stream alert. I wanted to cut. I was waiting for a little bit more because I got the worst fill, I think, and I was only up like 10% or break even. It wasn't worth it, and then it kind of bounced on me. But watch them. We might even have to push back and get some more time, so we'll see what happens. But Boeing is going to be a good one. I wouldn't sleep on it, and don't let the slow nature or the look of manipulativeness, if that's what you want to call it, distract you from it. It's looking good. The chart looks weak. The whole company looks weak in general. So again, with this market, that's what we need to watch out for, and how we play off from these levels. We are at very, very important parts. So there's that. I guess other plays too. I want to play this because, again, we did see Intel make a move, and Intel could be a play come Thursday, Friday, and we'll talk about that. But even in general, I know a lot of people want to look at AMD, Micron, NVIDIA, and all that, but one that I really like and have a focus on, XLNX. So at this range above 100, in between like 103, 105s, watch for those options. And again, I'm just going to always remind you guys, push it to the wall. It's now Thursday, so that came by fast because of the short week. So watch how the contracts play out. But again, they have $1 increments. This stock likes to move more than $1 from top to bottom. We could take advantage of that. So if these 105s could get to like 20 cents, 15 cents, let's see what happens. So again, find contracts that you want that are expensive today and take advantage of them right now. Watch XLNX. Another one I still like, you guys, FedEx. So here's the contract. I'm going to be looking at both this week and next week. It all depends. And again, XLNX, we need to move. I need to get to the other one, Intel. Don't let me forget about that. But I like these ones. I believe were at 20 cents. Yeah, I think yesterday these were at 20, so they're coming down, but we want to start scoping in, try to get within $1 or $2 within the money. But if these could start to get to 15, 20 cents, we could see. But again, you could also go a little further out of the money if these could start touching, or the 152s, if these could get to 40 or 50 cents. It depends on the move. I like FedEx, but now, even as one on the weekly, or even push it to the wall, these are big moves on Intel. When Intel makes these moves, it's not supposed to move like that. So on the weeklies, wait till the premium kills some of this. But if we could get that on a Thursday, Friday, that's going to be a great push it to the wall play. But again, you need a big move like this. So if we don't see this sort of volatility or can expect this out of Intel, it might not be the move. But as you see, you either need a slow melt up, or we're going to have to play it off the mornings. And tomorrow morning will be crucial, so make sure you guys are paying attention. There is McDonald's, but again, the value stocks have been operating a little weird, so I'm not honestly too interested on it. We're going to be watching some of the premium sales, but again, FANG, anything of that nature. And then lastly, oil. We can't forget about this. This is actually setting up, again, both the volume and how it's looking in the price level of when we're here with oil. It's stalled enough. So there's been 3 or 4 days, and this has kind of been 3 days of stalling. It's slowing here. So again, the key is going to be how we set up tomorrow, or is it going to get pushed here into Friday. So I'm going to leave you guys with that. Drop your like, drop your watch list. I'll see you in the morning. Let's go.